I'm genuinely nervous and scared about this.
You're gonna get so skinny!
I'm gonna not eat any food for 7 days. It's quite important to eat.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm gonna survive?
Yes.
Am I gonna be super irritable? Am I gonna be tired the whole time? When will this torture end? Am I gonna die? And is it actually gonna change anything about my life?
Do you want me to be honest?
Be honest, what do you think?
I think it's absolutely crazy, ruin your body, and you're going to shock your heart and shock your system, and not necessarily for the good.
I'm feeling good in my body. My intention with this is not to lose weight. Instead is the mental benefits that are claimed, you know, the clarity of the mind, and spiritual benefits, if that's a word that works for you. Understand more about myself through having less. And one of the big things I want to understand about myself is my cravings. When I feel emotionally vulnerable or bored, this fella comes into my mind, Impulse Stiltskin, telling me to eat and to eat more, even when I know it's not good for me. I wonder how this fasting adventure might change our relationship, if I might find some freedom from the endless cycle of craving. So my nan isn't too confident about the idea of me fasting, but fasting is older than the human species. Animals instinctively fast when they're sick, and fasting has been a fundamental practice for most of the world's religions and spiritualities. 1.4 billion Muslims fast every year with Ramadan, and the Buddha was said to become enlightened by fasting for 40 days under the Bodhi tree. Plus, my mate James said fasting was pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
And I've been looking at videos on YouTube of people doing fasts. It looks really, really difficult.
I can't even sleep. Can't even sleep.
Oh, it just feels like a lot. I'm getting cold feet, my friend. Yeah, there's genuine nervousness with this one. Food is an important part of my life and my coping mechanism for helping me distract myself from myself. And so when that distraction isn't there, how am I gonna be? So here's the plan. I've got a wee little cabin for myself in Scotland. I'm gonna be there for 10 days. Let's find out what happens. Bye-bye. Little vegan burger, thanks to the pickles. Made it. Hey, it's a nice cabin. I'm trying to ease myself into the fast, so I'm going to be healthy today. No coffee so far, trying to just do vegetables, but still super excited about getting into this because I'm hungry, feeling very, very blessed to be able to have a carrot. Not for long. Yeah, already there's quite a lot coming up for me with my stories of who I am. Am I strong enough to do this? I do believe that sometimes you have to meet suffering and get to know suffering to find freedom, to know that actually I can live with suffering and not always have to be escaping the more challenging experiences that I have. But it doesn't mean I want to do it. I like easy things. I just want to share the obligatory disclaimer that this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm doing this by myself, having never fasted before, with guidance of some books, and I hope that my adventure can maybe be inspiration for you and some ideas, but it's your body, your journeys. Oh. Are you too scared to not eat for a long time? Well, let me introduce to you juice fasting. Supposed to be cleansing and a way to ease myself into the fast. Alright, we're gonna get classy with it. Pure celery juice. Never tasted this before. Chin chin. Yeah, I'm getting really overwhelming flavors of green. You might be wondering, is it really possible that I could just have juice and then nothing for a week? I was wondering the same thing, which is why I reached out to one of the world's leading fasting experts to ask him, is fasting safe? And what's happening in my body?
Fasting is simply a way to use that energy that you've already stored, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's precisely why you carry body fat. So if you think about how much energy we store on our bodies, it's actually a significant amount. A pound of body fat is roughly 3,500 calories. So if you burn about 1,800 calories a day, then you have enough energy in 1 pound of body fat to go for 2 full days without eating. If you don't eat, you take the food energy, the calories from your body fat. In other words, you're eating your body fat, which is why you have it in the first place. And that's it. There's nothing else that's particularly wrong with doing it. It's sort of ridiculous. You could go 100 days. Most people think you can't even go 5-6 hours without eating.
I realise I've been focusing a lot on my fears, what could go wrong, and we create our own experience of reality through the things we choose to focus on. So I'm realising that I've been manifesting a challenging time because I've been worrying so much. So what if this whole process was easy? And that is a question that I ask myself in life. What if this was easy? Oh, good morning. Day 2, and yesterday I just only had juice, and today I feel good. I feel the best that I've felt so far. Don't feel hungry, feel energized. So yeah, powered by plants. As Nietzsche said, the person who has a strong enough why can go through any how. When I'm trying anything new, I go through the process of really thinking through, why do I want to do this? What pain is my current way of being giving me? And what reward and nourishment could a future way of being support me? And so if you're considering fasting, I invite you to do some intention setting, and I want to share with you some of mine. One of my intentions is, through having less, I build gratitude for what I have. And I am feeling a lot of gratitude right now that I have the choice to not eat, because so many people around the world can't eat. Meanwhile, back in my everyday, I have enough food, and so I often lose the gratitude for what a gift that is. So one of my intentions in having less is, when I come back to food, is to really reconnect with the gift of a full belly. I'm wondering how all the days are going to be different. I'm interested to know what you think. Could you leave me an emoji down in the comments of how you think I'm going to be day 5? Any predictions are welcome. So good morning, welcome to day 1 of no food. Some nervous anticipation, but I'm remembering my mantras now: to surrender quicker and to trust deeper. And what if it was easy? Well, I can't have any food. I do get to enjoy a lovely cup of green tea. I've shared already that this journey for me isn't just a physical journey. Instead, I see it as a spiritual adventure. And I want to share what I mean by spiritual, because I grew up an atheist and maybe that word doesn't work for you, but hopefully we can explore it in an inclusive way. What do I mean by spiritual? For me, it's simply connecting to something bigger than myself. You know, we are part of a great mystery. You and I are intelligent beings, and we live on a planet bursting with beings who too are intelligent, conscious, having experiences. And around the world, over history, all cultures have come up with stories to try and understand this great mystery that we are a part of. For a Christian, the source of all our beings would be called God. For a Muslim, Allah. For the Taoists, who I studied with in China, and I've spent a lot of my life studying and sharing, they called the mysterious source that we all emerge from the Tao. And for an atheist, and I grew up as an atheist, they would call it the forces of nature, which today I now see as a spirituality, a set of understandings for our relationship to the world, the universe. Here's my spiritual intention: to become flexible so that I can be nourished by the mysterious source, not just food. To build my trust in the divine. Yeah, fasting is deep because for decades I've trained my body just to rely on food. And there's a lot of fear coming up that if I don't have food, I'm gonna die. And yet physiologically, I'm carrying like 60 days of fuel on me. I absolutely can do this. So whether or not I actually make it through depends upon how much I can trust myself, trust my nature, trust the great source that I come from. And George, my ego, the voice in my head, which tries to keep me safe through thoughts of telling me, you can't do this is dangerous, and you're not strong enough. Normally George is in control, but if I can surrender that control of small George, thinking George, and trust in the universe, in great mysterious source, the Tao, whatever word works for you, then I get out my own way and I'm okay. I then become more flexible. I don't just rely on food. I can be nourished by the sun and the trees and meditation and prayer. What would your intentions be for fasting? What's your big why? Let's inspire each other in the comments. Let me know. So according to this stick that I just peed on, ketosis has begun. Well, I'm out walking and feeling a little bit weak now. My heart's beating quite quickly. I'm trying not to create too many stories about it. These are just sensations arising for me. Don't need to make a big deal out of it. Part of me wants to go, ah! Not even an orange. It took me hours to get to sleep. My body was in alert mode. George has not eaten, so we must keep him awake in case bourbon biscuits appear suddenly. My heartbeat is fast. Another one of my intentions: to strengthen my will, discipline, and integrity. The definition I love of discipline is having an intention and following through with it. Discipline can bring with it an idea of macho-ness, but if it's simply actually following through with an intention instead of wanting to do something in our lives and then procrastinating and not doing the thing that really nourishes us, we can see discipline in a harmonious way, building the skill and the habit to actually follow through with the things that we want to do in an appropriately flexible and kind way. And this big challenge of having absolutely no food for a long time and facing my cravings and facing myself is something that I hope will build my discipline. Food, glorious food, there's nothing quite like it. I'm in the mood for strawberries and custard. Who needs food when I've got the tantalizing taste of air? I'm feeling quite weak and I just had a craving to go back and eat lots of food. And I've just got to stay with the emotion. I can't fill in the gaps. That's the challenge. That's where the healing's at. Got to be with myself, my whole self, even the suffering parts, and make friends with him. I've been reading an awesome book called The Transformational Power of Fasting. And in it says, what does it take for you to learn to eat the landscape around you instead of food? How does it feel to eat the landscape? That might seem to you quite far out spiritual, but that's making more sense to me. It's like when you go for a walk in nature, and you maybe go for a walk in a forest and you feel good, you come back home feeling re-energized. So that is a form of energy that we can tap into. And since I'm not eating any food, I am opening myself up to be more sensitive to these other forms of energy that can lift me. Eating the view. Let's give it a go. Yum, 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 yum. Well, howdy there, welcome to day 5. Feeling good? Feeling a little bit weak, but generally good. I'm loving the mental clarity I've got. If you eat a big meal, you feel sluggish and you have the afternoon crash. I'm not getting the afternoon crash. Nothing else to report, really. This has been remarkably easy. I've been feeling this process has been too easy. So to increase the excitement for you and the challenge for me and the growth for me, I've been thinking about climbing up this. But that does seem maybe irresponsible, climb up a mountain having not eaten any food for days. But Jesus, if we believe the Bible, was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. So biblically speaking, I should be able to manage 4 hours of hiking. All right, this is it. Day 6 of no food and climbing up a mountain. This is definitely a tell mum afterwards story. Let's see if I survive. FYI, if you want to try fasting, this is not necessary. But if I make it, it might give you some confidence about what you're capable of. I'm thinking back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Say they're living in the Arctic and they haven't caught a seal for ages. They will still need, even after 3 days of not eating, to go have the energy to hunt a seal in order to eat again. So even in a fasted state, our bodies should be able to give us big energy. I started this journey with a lot of fear that I wasn't strong enough. And normally I would run away and distract myself from my fears and insecurities, but for once I've chosen to turn towards them, to meet them with as much kindness and acceptance as I can muster. And in so doing, I've reconnected with a power I didn't know I had. You and I, because we are human, we are born with an immense capacity for resilience. And we can access this capacity if we get out our own way and trust ourselves. And fasting, through having less, we discover more of who we are and what we're capable of. We need to talk. Talk to me, your constant cravings, what's happening? Pleasure's fun, lighten up. Yeah, pleasure is great, but you make me stuff myself when I don't want to. You tell me that I need to work out in order to have a better body, in order to be lovable by someone. All this striving that you create for me means that I feel inadequate just as I am. Well, if it wasn't for my distractions, you'd be feeling lonely and stressed. I've found on this journey that I'm strong enough to feel those feelings. And when I stay with those feelings, I can see what they're trying to tell me. Like, what do I really need? And that's where real healing is possible. And I found through having so little that I don't need to run away from myself. That we are already whole. We are already lovable. We are already worthy, just as we are. And true peace and contentment doesn't come from the pursuit of more, but the embracing of what is. You done with your sermon? Yeah. And guess what? We get to eat tomorrow! Yes! The big day is here. It's finally arrived. Let's do this. Well, here we go. It's eating time. Oh, I'm so excited. What a deep and beautiful journey this has been. Starting in fear and yet coming through to finding some strength and some learning. I want to see if it's going to make any difference to me when I'm back home. So that's the next step of this story, is the integration, which is always important. I want to bring you on that journey with me. What lasting effects does fasting have? I'll be interested to find that out. But for now, I'm filled with so much gratitude for these beautiful vegetables, an orange, an avocado, some kale. My God. Food, glorious food. Nothing quite like it. All right, let's try some kale. Nom 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 nom. Oh my God. I'm blissing out. I'm blissing out. Whoa, Nelly. What a ride. So I've been back for a month, and has anything changed? Well, coming back actually was one of the most challenging times for me, but also I know the fast has been one of the most transformational things I've done in my life. So here are 3 big changes that I've noticed. So I came back from the fast on a high, but literally on the train home, suddenly I had one of the biggest challenges that has happened to me for a while. I had my credit card hacked, and on the train, the bank called me and said that my account has been compromised and that a malware had been installed on my phone, which meant that the criminals had got into my bank account, and in order to protect the money I needed to put it in a holding account while they closed the compromised bank account. And they had loads of my details, so I passed security and spent 40 minutes on the phone building trust with them, and as you probably guessed, they were the criminals. And so I sent all of my money to them, and this is already in a tight time for me, and so feelings of shame and embarrassment have been coming up because I'm supposed to be a tech person and not be this silly. And I've noticed impulse tilt skin coming straight back in, my old strategy of comfort eating to make me feel good, and I've allowed myself to distract myself and comfort myself. I don't always need to be so strong. I've learned on this journey that impulse tilt skin will always be with me, and that's all right. And the wisdom journey is knowing when to allow ourselves to indulge and have fun and distract, and when to choose not to indulge and to do something different that will serve us. So yeah, it has been a tough time, but I do feel the fasting has made me stronger. I feel like I'm on the other side now of that compulsive eating phase, and I'm back to intermittent fasting. I love the clarity in my mind that I get when I'm in a fasted state. And that extended fast has taught me that hunger's okay. It's all right to be hungry, and actually I've got other forms of energy available to me. And so I trust myself more, I trust my body more. And for me, this is yet another lesson in if we challenge ourselves, we expand our capabilities, and that makes life easier. I had all this fear with the fasting, did it anyway, found that I had this energy available to me. And in so doing, I expanded my comfort zone. And so when I'm back in my everyday, I don't get triggered as easily. And if my learning has been resonating with you, an invitation is to pause the video and to do some journaling, reflect on how you could integrate some of what I've been exploring into your life and your practice. I've made another video, a 7-step guide based on my experience of how you can make fasting a transformational experience for you. I've also made a free PDF guide if you want it in written form. If there's anyone you think would benefit from watching this video, please do give them a share. And whatever you do, whether or not fasting is right for you, and in the next video I'll talk more about how to make that decision. I just want to send good vibes to you for us to support each other on our journeys towards understanding ourselves and finding more wisdom and living in peace. If you've got any tips or reflections for me in the community, I'd love to hear them down in the description. And yeah, check out this next video for more learning. Ta-da for now.